Good day everyone. I am Mark Luis Bruto together with Group 3 members Sedenio Patrick Jan, Celerio Lisel, and Loredo Artemio III. Our topic is for 1.2.3 in Module 1, TCP/IP and how it works. So first is, what is TCP/IP? TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol or the Internet Protocol. It governs all activity across the Internet and through most corporate and home networks. So, ibig sabihin, kapag gumagamit tayo ng Internet, mapa sa corporate man yan or sa bahay natin, malamang sa malamang, ginagamit natin ang TCP/IP. And it is a suite of communication protocols used to interconnect network devices on the Internet. Meaning, pinagsama-samang communication protocols na ginagamit para communicate ang devices from the sender and the receiver devices in the cyberspace or the Internet. Next is TCP/IP specifies how data is exchanged over the Internet by providing end-to-end communications that identify how it should be broken into packets, addressed, transmitted, routed, and received at the destination. So sa TCP/IP, ini-specify niya paano nag-exchange ang data over the Internet from the sender and the receiver and vice versa. Next is TCP/IP protocol suite was designed in 1970s by two DARPA scientists, Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn. So it is developed by Department of Defense to provide a highly reliable and fault-tolerant network infrastructure. Security was not a focus. So nung dinevelop tong TCP/IP na to, is focus lang siya sa highly reliable and fault-tolerant network. Hindi pa siya masyadong focused pagdating sa security. And next, in March 1982, the U.S. Department of Defense declared TCP/IP as the standard for all military computer networking. So, noong 1982, dineklara ng U.S. Department of Defense na gagamitin nila yung TCP/IP as a standard for their military exchange of data. Next is, ano nga ba yung importance ng paggamit ng TCP/IP? So, TCP/IP is important because it enables consistent, hindi nagbabago yung data, scalable, malawakan since internet nga to, almost everyone in the world has access to the internet, and reliable data communication across different networks, forming the backbone of the internet and most modern communication systems. So ito yung TCP/IP model. So it consists of the network access layer, and then the internet layer, the transport layer, and the application layer. So later on, pag-uusapan natin isa-isa yan. And ano yung mga protocols under ng bawat layer ng TCP/IP model. So, ito yung pinakataas na model, which is the application layer. This layer is responsible for generating the data and requesting connections. This is where data is generated by programs such as web browsers, email, clients, and etc. So, application layer is gumagamit ng mga protocols na responsible for generating the data and requesting connections. So, dito is nakaready na yung data na ita-transfer from the sender and the receiver. And also, ito yung user interface na ginagamit natin sa ating devices. Then next is the transport layer. Transport layer provides end-to-end communication, ensuring reliable data transfer between devices. So, transport layer gumagamit ng two protocols para makapag-provide ng end-to-end communication. And sinisigurado din ito na connected talaga yung dalawang devices para magkaroon ng seamless data exchange. Next is the internet layer. Handles logical addressing and routing of data to ensure packets reach their destination across multiple networks. So pagdating sa internet layer, dito na pumapasok yung routing ng data kung saan ang ating device is matatanggap na yung data na pinadala from another device. Next is the network access layer or the link layer. It deals with the physical transmission of data over the network, including hardware addressing or MAC address. So, yung MAC address, meron tayo sarili-sariling MAC addresses pagdating sa bawat devices na ginagamit natin. And the physical link between devices. So, it is consists of router, cables, and etc. So, ito naman yung mga ginagamit nating protocols under or within the layers in TCP/IP. So, magsimula tayo sa physical layer. Ito yung ginagamit nating device, and then the cables, the routers, and then the next is the data link layer or the internet layer, and the next is the transport layer, which is consist of two protocols. So, yung TCP, yung Transmission Control Protocol, and the User Datagram Protocol. So, sa TCP is ito yung protocol na nag-i-ensure na reliable yung data na natatanggap natin. While the UDP, it focuses only on speed and not on the reliability of the data. And then, ito naman sa application layer, marami tayong protocols na pwedeng na nagagamit natin sa pang-araw-araw. First is the FTP. Ito yung file transfer protocols. Ito yung file transferring from the server to the client. The next is the Telnet. The HTTP, yung ginagamit natin sa pag-web browsing. The SMTP, yung ginagamit naman natin for emails, exchanging emails. And then the next is the DNS, the domain name system, which translate the domain names into IP address to access websites. And then the SNMP, then the DHCP, or the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, na matatalakay din later on. And then lastly is the NST.
IP addressing. IP addressing is a fundamental concept in a networking that allows devices to identify and communicate with each other on a network. Every device connected to the internet or a local network must have a unique IP address, similar to a home address, to ensure data is routed correctly between source and destination. So, si IP address is a concept in a networking that allows devices para magkaroon ng maayos na communication at ma-identify nila ang bawat isa sa isang network. So, kada devices sa isang network is kinakailangan may isang unique na IP address. Kasi kung magkakaroon ng parehong IP address ang isang device, is maaaring magulo yung daloy ng data sa isang network. Or hindi masigurado na tama yung dinadaanan ng data sa isang network. We have two versions of IP address. First is the IPv4. IPv4 addresses are 32-bit numeric address, typically written as 4 decimal numbers separated by dots. So, dito is nakalagay ang example na 192.168.1. Each section can range from 0.255, providing approximately 4.3 billion unique addresses. So, yung 192 na yan is pwede siyang maging 255. Yung example dyan is pwede siyang maging 190.160.2.2. Yun yung example. So, kaya niya mag-cater ng 4.3 billion na unique addresses sa kada device sa isang network. So, si IPv4 ay may 4 na classes, which are Class A, Class B, Class C, Class D, and Class E. So, si Class A ay ginagamit sa pangmalawakang networks. And it is ranging from 1.0.0.0 to 126.255 and so on. Si Class B naman is ginagamit for medium-sized networks, ranging from 128.0.0.0 to 192.255.255.255. Si Class C naman po is for smaller networks, ranging from 192.0.0.0 to 223.255.255.255. Ito naman pong si Class D and si Class E is ginagamit lang na is reserved lang para sa mga special purpose such as multicast and research. Next, IPv6. IPv6 was developed to address the limitations of IPv4, especially the lack of available address. IPv6 provides a vastly larger addresses space and incorporates improvements in security and efficiency. So, ginawa daw po si IPv6 para masolusyonan ang problema or ang limitasyon ni IPv4, which is ang pinakang binabanggit po natin dito is yung kakulangan sa available na addresses sa isang network na kayang ibigay sa isang network. And in terms of address format, IPv6 addresses are 128-bit addresses written in hexadecimal format and separated by colons. So, unlike IPv4, si IPv6 po is naka-hexadecimal format na which composed of letters and numbers. And separated po ito by colons. And the 128-bit structure allows for 340 undecillion unique IP addresses. So, napakalaki po nito. 340 undecillion unique IP addresses yung kaya niyang ibigay sa kada device sa isang network. Key features of IPv6. First is larger address space, virtually unlimited addresses to accommodate the growing number of devices. Next is auto configuration. Devices can automatically configure their own IP address without the need for a DHCP server. And lastly, built-in security, which is IPv6 has integrated support for IPsec, making data transmission more secure. So, let's go to the next part, which is the type of IP addressing. So, meron po tayong dalawang type of IP addressing, which are the DHCP and static IP addressing. DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. DHCP is a protocol used to automatically assign IP addresses to a device on a network. This is especially useful for environments with a large number of devices such as corporate networks or public Wi-Fi system. So, dito po sa DHCP is automatically po ibinibigay nung server yung IP address sa bawat device. So, meron lang po ditong kinukonfigure yung mga network administrator para makapag for the setting ng pamimigay ng IP address sa bawat device. Ito naman pong static IP addressing is manually assigned to a device and remains fixed over time. Unlike dynamic IPs, static IP addresses do not change unless manually reconfigured. So, dito sa static IP addressing is manually po ina-assign yung IP address sa isang device. And hindi po ito nababago unless na palitan po ito nung network administrator. Unlike sa DHCP na kapag nag-disconnect yung isang device and then connect ulit is automatically po nababago yung IP address ng isang device. So, comparison. DHCP versus static IP addressing. So, in terms of configuration features, si DHCP po is automatically assigned by DHCP server. Static IP addressing naman po is manually assigned and requires configuration. In terms of flexibility, sa DHCP, IP addresses can change over time. And sa static naman po is fixed IP addresses. So, yung sinasabi natin kanina. Ease of use. In DHCP addressing, minimal manual intervention needed. And then sa static IP addressing naman po, requires manual setup for each device. Use cases. Best for general purpose devices like laptops. Sa static naman po, best for servers, printers, and routers. In terms of address configs, Si DHCP po is handled by the DHCP server, and si static IP addressing naman po is can occur if not carefully managed. So, dito pa lang po is nakikita na po natin yung advantage ng DHCP kesa sa static IP addressing.
Common ports. Network application software needs to know the address of a remote device in order to establish communication with that device. A network port is just a number that tells a receiving device where to send messages it receives. So, nandito po yung ilan sa mga common ports. Una po dito yung port 20 o mas kilala sa FTP data transfer, kung saan ay ginagamit po ito sa pag-transfer ng mga files over the internet. Next is ang port 21 o ang FTP control. Ito naman po yung nagmamanage ng mga command during po nung pagta-transfer ng file. Sunod po yung port 22 o yung SSH. Ito naman po yung nagpo-provide ng secure na way kung saan po ay ma-access po yung device remotely. Sunod naman po yung port 25 or SMTP. Ito naman po yung nagsesend ng mga email mula po sa isang server papunta po sa isa. Next is ang port 53 o ang DNS. Ito naman po yung nagtatranslate ng mga websites into IP addresses. Example po dito yung google.com, mga ganun po, facebook.com. Next is yung port 80 na mas kilala sa tawag na HTTP. Ito naman po yung ginagamit para mag-loading po yung mga websites sa browsers. Next is yung port 110 or port 110 o kilala po sa tawag na POP3. Ito naman po yung nagre-retrieve ng mga email mula po sa server papunta po sa mga local device. Next is yung port 139 o yung NetBIOS. Ginagamit naman po ito sa pag-share ng mga files and yung mga printers po on a local network. Next is yung port 143 o IMAP. Ito naman po yung nag-aalaw ng access ng email para po ma-stored siya sa mga server na kahit hindi na po kailangan i-download pa. And next din po yung port 443. Ito naman po yung HTTPS. Ito naman po yung nagsasecure ng mga websites na ine-encrypt po nila yung mga data between sa mga browser and server po. And last po is yung port 3389 o yung terminal server po. Ito naman po yung port na ginagamit for remote desktop protocol o yung bilang RDP. Inaalaw naman po nito yung mga users na remotely control yung another computer po or server over a network.
So good day, I am going to tackle about the common network protocols. And the first protocol is the DNS or the domain name system. What is the purpose of DNS? It converts human readable domains into IP address. So DNS translate these domain names such as facebook.com, google.com, instagram.com into IP addresses, allowing users to access the website. When a user enters a URL, the DNS resolver queries in a hierarchy of servers to find the corresponding IP address, and once the IP address is retrieved, it allows connection to the correct servers for content retrieval. So meron tayong tatlong components ng domain name system. First is the DNS resolver. So, ito yung humahanap ng, yung hinahanap ng domain ng DNS resolvers, yung IP address ng domain names natin. Ang DNS zones naman is a portion of DNS namespace managed by an organization. So, ang example ng DNS zone natin ay .com, yung mga nasa dulo ng mga websites natin, .com, .ph, .org, at iba pa. Ang records naman dito pumapasok lahat ng mga names ng ating website. For example, Facebook, which is nasa gitna, facebook.com, or yung sa Google, meron tayong google.com, meron din tayong mail.google.com. So, sila yung mga humahawak records. Yung domain name system records ang humahawak nito. So, ang ginagamit na port ng domain name system is UDP port 53 for queries and TCP port 53 for zone transfers. Next is the FTP file transfer protocol. The purpose of this is to transfer files between a client and a server. How it works? So, gumagamit ng two modes ang FTP. First is the active mode and the second is the passive mode. Sa active mode, dito, yung client yung nag-open ng port for data transfer and the server connects to it. Ang passive mode naman, yung server yung nag-open ng port for data transfer and the client connects to it. So, ang port na ginagamit ng FTP is TCP port 21 for control and dynamic ports or any ports for data transfers. Next is the FTPS or FTP Secure. So, ang purpose nito is to add encryption to FTP for secure file transport. So, ang FTPS ay isang extension ng FTP kung saan gumagamit na ito ng encryption protocol such as SSL or TLS encryption para maprotektahan ang file transfer between client and the servers. So, how it works? So, nag-ooperate din to in two modes, explicit FTPS and implicit FTPS. In explicit FTPS mode, the client requests encryption before communication start. Sa implicit naman, yung security ay automatically enforced. So, data transfer between client and server is encrypted, ensuring confidentiality and integrity. So, gumagamit ito ng two ports, which is TCP port 21 for explicit and TCP port 990 for implicit. Next is the HTTP or Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So, the purpose is to facilitate connection between the web browsers and the servers. So, ito ay isang stateless protocol used to transfer web content between servers and the browser. The client sends an HTTP request and the server responds with the requested web page or resource. So, meron tayong apat na methods na ginagamit sa HTTP. The get, post, put, and delete. Ano nga ba ang pinagkakaiba-iba nito? Ang get is to retrieve data, post is to send data, put is to update data, and delete is to remove data. So, gumagamit ito ng isang port which is the TCP port 80. Next is HTTPS or HTTP Secure. Parang FTP at FTPS lang. Ang HTTPS is a secure version of HTTP kung saan gumagamit din tayo ng SSL or TLS protocols. So, the purpose of this is to secure HTTP by encrypting data between clients and servers using the SSL and TLS. How it works? Encrypts data to ensure confidentiality and integrity, uses certificates for client and server authentication. So, ang ginagamit ng port nito is TCP port 443. The next is the ISCSI, which is the Internet Small Computer System Interface. It allows SCSI or yung Small Computer System Interface natin to operate over IP networks o para magamit natin yung mga small computer systems natin kahit magkakalayo gamit ang IP networks over the internet para ma-enable yung remote storage access natin. So, it allows remote devices to be accessed as if they were locally storage in a physical location. So, the clients or the initiator sends SCI commands over the network to storage devices, which is yung ating targets. This enables block-level storage management over standard IP networks. So, meron nga itong dalawang components, yung initiator natin, which is yung clients, And yung target natin is yung gusto nating storage na magamit. So, gumagamit ito ng port, TCP port 3260. Next is the NetBIOS or Network Basic Input-Output System. The purpose of this is to provide services for file and printer sharing in local area networks. So, it provides file and printer sharing services by enabling applications to communicate using names imbes na yung mga IP addresses natin kasi we are local area networks lang naman. It supports 3 main services: name registration, session management, and data transmission. Name registration is yung mga ito yung names na ginagamit natin, which is merong kaakibat ng mga IP address. So, names nga yung ginagamit natin para mapadali. And session management, yung session between communication ng client and servers, and the data transmissions, kung ano yung mga data na nagfo-flow between the communication ng server, nung ating clients and yung receiver. So, may marami itong ginagamit na port, which is the UDP port 137 for the name service, UDP port 138 for sa data service natin or yung data transmission, TCP port 139 session service, which is yung session management natin. Next is the SCP, which is the Secure Copy Protocol. The purpose of this is to securely transfer files between hosts using SSH. Yung transfer files is secured between hosts kasi gumagamit nga tayo ng SSH encryption and for encryption and authentication. It uses an encrypted channel to ensure the confidentiality and the integrity of the flow of data during the transfer. So, SCP is a simple command line-based tool often used for secure file copying. So, yun nga how it works. Copies files securely from one host to another gamit ang encrypted SSH channels natin. And gumagamit tayo ng port TCP port 22, same as the SSH. Next is the SFTP or the SSH File Transfer Protocol. The purpose of this is secure file transfer over a network using SSH. How it works is it allows secure file transfer with additional functionalities like resuming interrupted transfers. So, ito ay isang secure protocol for file transfer over the network kung saan ginagamit ang SSH to encrypt the connection between the server and the client. In addition to file transfer, it supports a complex operation like directory listing and file management. It ensures that data is securely transferred, and sabi nga dito, may additional functionalities siya na it can resume kahit magkaroon ng interrupted sa ating data transfers. Security is encrypted with SSH for secure authentication and transfer. Ginagamit ito ng TCP port 22, same as SSH. Next is the SNMP or Simple Network Management Protocol. The purpose of this is to monitor and manage network devices. How it works? Devices sends an alert or traps to an SNMP managers which can query devices for status updates. So, meron tayong versions nito, version 1, version 2C, and version 3. Ano ba ang pinagkaiba-iba nito? So, ang version 1, basic functionality and konting security lang. At ang version 2C naman ay enhanced performance and limited security. So, mas better lang siya ng konti sa version 1. Ang version 3 naman, ito yung talagang may security as it provides authentication, encryption, and access control between managing the network devices. So, it allows administrator to collect and manipulate device information. Devices send status to an SMP manager which can query devices for like uptime or network traffic. So, gumagamit tayo ng port UDP 161 for queries and UDP 162 for traps. Next is the SSH or yung secure shell, yung kanina pa nating naririnig. So, ano nga ba ito? It secures remote login and command execution. Ito ay isang secure protocol for, sinabi ko nga, remote login and command execution using encryption to protect data exchange between the client and the server. It establishes an encrypted session to securely transmit commands and data, making it ideal for system administration to file transfer. It also supports tunneling and port forwarding for secure communication. Ano nga ba ang components nito? So, meron tayong authentication. Ano ba yung mga authentication natin? Yung mga passwords, yung mga keys, and encryption algorithms. So, ang port na ginagamit ng SSH is the TCP port 22. Next is the Telnet. It provides remote access to network devices and computers. So, it allows access to network devices and establish a virtual terminal session. It is a text-based protocol that transmit data including login credentials in plain text, making it insecure for sensitive communication due to its lack of encryption. Telnet is largely replaced by more secure alternatives like SSH. So, pinalitan na daw ito ng SSH natin kanina kasi sabi nga ito ay walang encryption, so less yung security nito. Ang ginagamit na port ay TCP port 23. And lastly, yung TFTP or Trivial File Transfer Protocol. So, ang purpose nito is to provide simple file transfer capabilities over a network. So, ito ay isang simpler version ng FTP natin, designed for lightweight file transfer over a network, primarily using UDP for communication. It often used in environments where a simple file transfer is needed, like transferring firmware to a device. TFTP lacks encryption or authentication, making it insecure for sensitive data transfer. So, ang ginagamit na port dito is UDP port 69. And that's all for the common network protocols.